What is it they've sent us?
Help.
Welcome, Realm family, to another episode of Wrestling with the Realm podcast. I'm Brian, one half of the power and glory of wrestling podcasts, and on the other side, he is the Hercules to my Paul Roma. It's my guy, Will. Will, what are we talking about?
Well, it's just kind of been a big week in wrestling. So we're just touching on a few things. In our last podcast you guys watched, we were talking a little bit about Ron Killings coming back to the WWE, him being brought back because of the fans. And Brian actually wanted to hop on here and really just kind of dive into depth on his promo he had this week on Raw, which is a really phenomenal promo. But Brian, take us into that.
Yeah, I told Will, I said we gotta talk about this. We gotta talk about the R-Truth and Ron Killings. Like it again, I said at our last podcast that it felt kind of corny when he came out. Not corny that he came out at the pay-per-view, but it was corny that I was like, man, that was a moment. And I was like, I feel something. And on Monday night, when he cut that promo, like I had goosebumps. Like the hair on my arm was standing up, and I was like, wow, I feel something watching professional wrestling that I haven't felt since Cody was trying to finish his story with the final boss and The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania a couple years ago. That, like, there was feeling behind that. Like, we all felt it. We were like, man, this is awesome. Like everybody was talking about it. It was one of those like cultural touchstones that it seemed like everybody kind of knew kind of what was going on and it was a big deal and it made you feel. And this felt the same way with R-Truth. And on Monday, when he came out and he cut that promo, that is one of the best promos I think I've ever seen in my entire life. He did so many things at once. He acknowledged what the fans wanted to hear and he thanked them basically for him being back. He then took you through the R-Truth character, and without burying that character, he said, I'm busting out of that cocoon and I'm Ron Killings. He didn't, we all know that his character of R-Truth was a character, but the way that he was able to put that to bed and reinvent himself right in front of us and do it in such a believable way was really, really good. And cutting off his hair did that. You felt it. Like it felt like a bigger moment than if you were reading it on paper. Like if you were to read this story in Dave Meltzer dirt sheet, my bad, a dirt sheet. If you were to read it in there and like just read it in print, and you see, oh, R-Truth was released along with Carlito and Valhalla. Fans are chanting his name on Monday nights, and they've taken his merch down. And then you fast forward and you go, oh, R-Truth showed back up at Money in the Bank and interfered in the match. And then on Monday, R-Truth came out of the crowd and stood on the announce table and rebranded himself as Ron Killings. Like if you read that on a piece of paper, it doesn't resonate the way that it actually played out because we were all a part of it and we all felt it. Will and I talked about it on our a couple podcasts ago about the roller coaster that we've been on with WWE and that Carlito and R-Truth getting released, that was a pretty that was a pretty deep hole that they were digging themselves into, and not just because of what they were losing with those two, but just the general vibe. I think I said on that podcast that it was like the heart. Like you were losing the heart of the promotion and it didn't feel right what happened. And the
No.
people in the back weren't happy about it. The fans weren't happy about it. And as much as Triple H wants to say, are you enjoying the show? It's all part of the show. As much as he wants to do that, I appreciate him trying to sell this in a certain way. This wasn't a work. people had their voices heard, and somebody, apparently Tony Khan, had to make a personal phone call um, to get truth back. And one of the stipulations apparently was is that he wanted to be Ron Killings going forward, which makes sense because that way he owns his name, not WWE like they own our truth. Why give a royalty to somebody for the rest of time if you're trying to market yourself when you can just go by your own name? So that makes total sense. But the genius of it is the way that he did it. He sold himself when he went up there in that promo, and we felt it. It felt like we got him there, and he was appreciative of that, and he doesn't want to squander this chance that he has. So I thought the promo was fantastic. I'm excited to see where it goes. So the R Truth, Ron Killings, it was so good. Like what he said, it was powerful. You kind of felt it. The truth has set me free. I am Ron Killings. Like that, like, I don't know. For some reason, for me, it really resonated and I felt it. It felt authentic and it automatically makes whatever he's going to be doing going forward, it's going to make it better and we're going to be invested in it. And
Mhm.
I would assume that's going to be with John Cena. And that's just what this John Cena heel character and eventual face turn needs. It needed our truth from the beginning. We just didn't know it. That Saturday night's main event, I think, really sold it for me. The promo he did before that, when he said, in order to save professional wrestling, he has to save John Cena. I was like, our truth just summed up this heel turn of John Cena and the story they're trying to tell better than anybody else had. It made sense with what he was saying. And now going forward, he has to be involved in that. It would just feel right. I don't know if that necessarily means putting a championship on him, but he needs to be that Jiminy Cricket that he was before. Before he was Jiminy Cricket, like he said, that, but our truth could be too funny. He could be too forgiving. But I'm not. I'm Ron Killings. So he's like Jiminy Cricket with some attitude. And, Jiminy Cricket would try to talk sense into Pinocchio. Ron Killings, if he has to beat some sense into John Cena, I feel like he's going to do it. And that is already a much better story than it was before this happened. So it's kind of kismet that he's back. It just makes me super excited for where we're going with the story with John Cena because dude's got to be part of it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. He is just the perfect person for this storyline. And it's very similar to what he's done with his character, is very similar to how Cody went, and when he first started in WWE, he was dashing Cody Rhodes. Well, then he was undashing Cody Rhodes for a little bit. Then he was Stardust. When R-Truth started, he played a very similar character to what he was when he was with The Miz. He was more serious. He was too
Hmm.
serious, but he still had little Jimmy with him. Then he was the 24/7 champion. Then he was off of TV for a little bit after he won the US title from Nakamura. And now he's back and he was playing that funny comical character, but the most up-tuned version of it. When Cody came back, he was Cody Rhodes to a T. There was no character. And when wrestling is real and you're seeing the real person, it's another person who did it was Edge. When Edge came back and he was wrestling and he had triple neck fusion surgery. He came back at the Royal Rumble and he wasn't Edge anymore. He wasn't the ultimate opportunist. He was just Adam Copeland. And I know he's coping AEW and it's not going well, but when he was under the right management, he nailed it. He was just him. Cody is just him now. I hope that's what Ron Killings is. He is just who he is in real life. And when wrestling is real and us as fans, we feel like we get insight to the real person. sometimes you find that guy. For me, it's Cody. I resonate with him a lot. Ooh, maybe that's our truth. I know
Liv
you
Morgan.
you like CM Punk because Liv Morgan. Yeah, I mean all these guys, all these girls, like, they are really themselves. You say like, CM Punk when he came back, he wasn't really a character anymore, and CM Punk's always been himself, but for a little bit he was playing the straight edge society character, and he had that whole group, and that was more of a gimmick for him. And now this is just
Yeah.
when you turn on TV, you get Phil. That's who you get. So the more wrestlers you have that are like that, that aren't a character, they are exactly who they are in real life. Just maybe a tuned up version of themselves. Those are the people that fans they'll resonate with. And that's when wrestling is real, and that's when it's at its best. So that's why I feel like this R-Truth promo, his return, it meant so much to the fans.
And it's interesting you saying that about the authenticity because that's kind of what we're talking about. And all of the greats have always been a version of themselves. Like that's the easiest character to play and the hardest sometimes, depending on who you are. If you're Dr. Drew, man can't do it. Sup, Dr. Drew. Uh, but if you're Cody, you're playing a you're playing a version of yourself, but it's easy to do because he's playing Cody Rhodes. I'm a professional wrestler. And I feel like this Ron Killings feels kind of that same way. And it makes me think of the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. And I go, that's what Dusty was. And the older that I get, and the more that I've seen of things, and the more that I go back and I rewatch some old stuff that I appreciated as a kid for one reason, I have a different appreciation now. And when I look at the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, I go, that's who he was. He was playing a version of himself, and that's why it resonated with people. When he's wearing a shirt that's the American Dream, son of a plumber, he's playing him. He's playing a version of himself, but it's authentic. And people can always tell authenticity, and that's why Cody is over. And I think that's why this Ron Killings felt that way, because it did almost have kind of that dusty feeling to it. Like if you go back and watch some of those old dusty promos from back in the day, like it felt like that. Like it was kind of electric, and you were behind him 100%. And he just had that authenticity and you gravitated towards it because he felt like just one of the guys, just a regular dude, and you understood that. So it's very dusty. So when you think about Cody, I go, he had a great person in his dad to be able to look to and kind
Mhm.
of get that type of inspiration from to come back as Cody Rhodes. But you know how long it took me? I was very late to the party of American Nightmare. I get it.
No, you should keep that in, man. I have those moments all the time in wrestling where I'm just like, I'm just a step slow on like realizing a point. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes absolute logical sense. I don't know why it took me that long. I
Yeah.
can't think of any off the top of my head, but I have those moments all the
Yeah.
time.
But
That
so
does.
so that was very funny for me. Um but yeah, it makes me think of Dusty, and that might be one of those things why that Ron Killings promo hit so hard because it felt like that. Felt authentic. And I know we're gonna get into some CM Punk. He's got the same thing, just like you were talking about. When he cuts his promo like he did on Monday night, makes everything better because you feel it and you believe it.
Yeah, and that we'll move right into it. That promo he had on John Cena was just so
Hmm.
nostalgic for me. This one hits as hard as it's gonna hit for me because this is literally my childhood more than Orton and Cena was because that stuff was happening way earlier. And 2011, this is right when I started watching wrestling. So for him to reference two promos and quote them and the New York Yankee line, it just all of it is so real that it's over now. And I think his promo was amazing. I think is the ultimate heel move for John Cena to be like, all right, we can have this match. Come to Saudi Arabia, though. So
Awesome.
messed up considering all the stuff Punk has said about wrestling in Saudi Arabia and Crown Jewel in general. He's been very critical of it. And to now think he is going there for this match, it kind of shows how Punk has really turned himself around from his AEW days. And he is truly the biggest team player. You hear everyone say it in the
Yeah.
locker room. It is 100% true from what I understand. I mean, you can see it on the screen, and he is very authentically him. And that promo he cut, and I truly do believe this is the first opponent John Cena has wrestled that I'm like,
Hmm.
there's a chance.
Yeah.
There is, and it's not big, it's not, but I will be watching that match with belief that there is some chance CM Punk can take that title off of him. I'm very excited for this feud. Feels like it could have been at Money in the Bank, or maybe you wait till SummerSlam because it feels like we're gonna rush into it a little bit. And that's been my biggest critique about some of these John Cena feuds is feels like we're running. We are running into feuds.
Hmm.
And that's fine sometimes, but when you have Randy and you have CM Punk, the history builds the feud itself. And I am super excited. The promo between these two was great on Raw, and I am super excited for this feud. And I just can't wait for Night of Champions, man. The last time between these two, it's going to be iconic.
I want to throw one more thing in. What John Cena did in that promo, which I loved, is that because other times when he's been challenged, he'll just stop and go, "No." This
Mhm.
time he did, "Okay, the greatest of all time versus the best in the world. Let's do it." Just not here, not tonight. And I was like, he waited
Yeah.
an extra beat, and I was like, that was great. I
Yeah.
loved that. It was the perfect little change up to what he's been doing, and the crowd was just with him for that whole ride.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
Yep. John Cena as a heel is growing on me.
Oh, I like with CM Punk what he did in his promo when he said, he's doing it's for the people, and that
Mhm.
he's kind of showing the same thing that Randy Orton did, that who would have thought that the Boy Scout is the bad guy and punk rock CM Punk is the good guy. Like he kind of spelled that out again on how crazy everything is right now. That if you would have asked somebody this question, however many years ago, they would have looked at you like you were crazy. It wouldn't have made sense. Um, and I love that he said about what that championship does, that championship, it turned him into a monster having that. And he's scared of that because of what it makes him become. But he said he's going to have to become the monster to stop the monster. So he's doing the same kind of thing that Ron Killings was doing again before Saturday night's main event. That you need to stop John Cena, and that doesn't necessarily mean taking the title off of him, but
Mhm.
John Cena needs to be turned back, and he needs to get back to where he was as a face for the people. So I thought it was a great promo by CM Punk. What else do I got here? Oh, the Queen of the Ring qualifier on Monday night was better than the women's Money in the Bank match. Hot
Oh,
take.
no. No, good
Go
take.
right ahead and say that.
Yeah, good take. I
You
like that.
know,
I enjoyed that match. It was a good match.
and Roxanne Perez, she walks away a winner again. Another great match because they're progressing storylines in that match. The Judgment Day story with Liv and Roxanne. Raquel comes down there. She takes out Rhea Ripley. Like they're working angles within the match and telling stories, and it worked. It was awesome. I think Roxanne picking up the win the way she did, you don't need Liv to win that match. You don't need Liv in the Money in the Bank match because when you have Roxanne doing these things, Liv and the Judgment Day are involved in that on the outside. So it
Mhm.
all plays into that story. Like it's all kind of connected. So I think they're doing a really good job of how they're using certain superstars. You and I talked about it today with Liv. Uh, I said, what does my note say? Liv is at it again all night. Like she's on the show multiple times a night, doing multiple things, but always keeping that constant story arc going. We see her character constantly evolving, and when she comes out uh, and mixes it up with Nikki Bella, like you see that. I thought it was great when she came busting out at that moment because, like I said to you, she wasn't being that bratty character. She was mad when she came out because she had already lost that qualifier match. She has all this crap going on within the Judgment Day, and that was her breaking point, and she was going to take it out on Nikki Bella. I thought it worked great. I think Liv is showing why she is an MVP again, and I'm not just being a homer. This is all true. Uh, do I have anything else? Um, I have a random note that says Sami Zayn baby facing it up. Just Sammy just baby facing it all over the place.
Love it.
But
Sammy's doing great work.
and it works for him. It
Hmm.
works for him the same way that it didn't work when Lyra Valkyria was doing it. I
Yeah.
don't understand what the difference is. It's just it seems more authentic, what we were talking about before. It seems more authentic with Sammy, and he does it in spades. Just just a true baby face doing baby face stuff and feels good, feels right. I'm excited to see where these Queen of the Ring and King of the Ring tournament goes. I feel like that should be exciting.
Do you want to know why it feels authentic? Because there's 10 plus years of work to go behind the underdog chasing his first championship. And I truly believe that's where we're going. I guess we can kind of just throw this in here in this podcast. Maybe we can clip it up when this is
Mhm.
all over. Who do you think is going to win the King and Queen of the Ring tournament?
Boy, man, on the men's side, I want to say that it's going to be Cody, but there's also a part of me that thinks it's going to be Big Bronson Reed. I feel like uh I know there boy, because who else
Oh,
is in his bracket? He's not in Cody's bracket, right?
he
No,
is in Cody's bracket.
oh, he is in Cody's
Yeah, he's in
bracket?
Cody's side of the bracket. Yeah. Which I'm not saying that Seth won't get
Oh
involved in
boy.
that match between the two if that's who
Yeah.
on that side.
And let me
I
tell you my thinking behind it real quick
go for it.
is you got Seth wins Money in the Bank. So they have that, and we've been talking about giving that group some legitimate heat and giving them either championships or something that makes them more legitimate as a faction. And you go, Seth gets Money in the Bank, then you have Braun Breaker doesn't qualify for King of the Ring, and I go, oh well, if he's not going to, because I thought for sure he would. I was totally surprised by Sammy going over. I thought that it was going to be Braun Breaker and he would go on to the end and he would at least get to the finals. Maybe not win, but he would get there just so that group has a little bit of oomph going forward. So when he didn't make it, I went, oh, then Bronson Reed has to. Like somebody in that group needs to get there, but it's going to be tough because you have to do something with Cody. It just makes sense that Cody would be in there. So I have no idea. It can go any which way. And on the women's side, it's the same thing. You know what? Roxanne Perez. Roxanne is
Okay.
going to win it because that throws a monkey wrench into a bunch of other stuff with the Judgment Day.
I'm gonna go with Cody because I'm an absolute Cody crybaby. And I just don't think it makes sense because the winner gets a title shot. Now, as you were talking, thought about a reason for Bronson Reed to win. he goes and he faces Gunther at SummerSlam, and then he just beats Gunther up, and then Seth cashes in, and he watches Seth win the title, and there is just you're doing everything for your leader because he's the visionary, and Bronson Reed sees the vision in the group, and maybe that down the line can lead to some dysfunction in the group, but I don't think the dysfunction's coming anytime soon. I think this group is going to be on top for a very long time,
Yeah.
at least till WrestleMania. So, and then on the women's side, you might not like this, but I have Jade Cargill. So how they're running these tournaments is it can kind of end up in a SmackDown versus SmackDown or Raw versus Raw
Hmm.
type of way. And Charlotte Flair's on the other side of the bracket, and they have been hinting at them having a match for a very
Ooh.
long time now. And I'm not necessarily saying I want Jade to win, but I do believe there is a world where we get a cash in from Naomi before SummerSlam, and then you're running Jade and Naomi for the belt at SummerSlam, and I think that is probably a great feud. Or you have Tiffany and Jade, which we've already
Mm.
seen that interaction as well, and then you're running a Tiffany Jade SummerSlam match, and that's when the cash in happens.
Hmm.
So there's definitely ways you can do it without Jade continuing to look strong because she would have to go and face Roxanne, which
Hmm.
Roxanne's a great worker. It can be a quicker match, but also I can see maybe Liv helping Roxanne win the match, trying to
Ooh.
mend things with the Judgment Day, or Finn helping in some sort of way continue the storyline on that side, or maybe Liv cost Roxanne the match. So there's so many different ways that
Yeah.
this tournament can go. I love a tournament in wrestling.
Me
So
too.
I'm super excited for this tournament to continue to play out. And the great thing about it is there's no wrong answers for this on who you think is going to win because I've seen people say Bronson. I was literally scrolling on my TikTok and it was a person saying they think Bronson Reed's going to win. You're not alone on that take. There's a group of people that truly believe that he could go all the way for the same reasons you're saying.
Hmm.
He just fits that tournament and a person who would come out winning it. And in terms of, it took Gunther to that next level when he won it. And in the same way, could take Bronson Reed, where Cody really doesn't need to be taken to the next level.
It's true.
And, I feel the same way about Jade. And, you know, if we like it or not, and, I'm not the biggest Jade fan, even though she's continuing to improve.
Hmm.
I do believe that they see her in that megastar light, and she is going to potentially win it. I mean, Roxanne's a great pick. Stephanie Vaquera, I've been seeing a little
Yeah.
bit winning it, and that's just because in the same way they view Jade, they probably view Stephanie times two because she is that good in the ring. She really
Yeah.
is. And that's going to be a great match. And we have a mystery person. So, whole lot to look forward to in wrestling. We said it, we're climbing
Yeah.
back up. We really are. And speaking of, some view it as climbing back up, some view it on the way down. We had a title change that I don't think a lot of us were expecting. I definitely wasn't. I had Jey Uso beating Gunther in that match, and
Ooh. I didn't know that.
I thought, and here's why. I didn't think we would be so quick to jump back to Gunther. I think Gunther was gonna eventually take the belt back at some point. I don't think Gunther's first title reign was phenomenal by any means. I think that's a very common take. I think we were just getting started on Jay being a super compelling champion. He's on SmackDown. He's feuding John Cena and Logan Paul, but he's also got Gunther. And then he's got this Seth Rollins faction on his back.
Hmm.
And he's getting pulled in three different directions. And we're just starting this stretch thin storyline. And to jump back so quickly to Gunther is an interesting move. Now, Gunther's a generational champion. Me and Henry have this conversation all the time. This dude is a top three in-ring worker. He is great on the mic. He is a perfect heel, although me and you believe he's turning that around. He's going to
Yep.
be a face.
Yep.
The
I'll
heel,
get into it.
yeah, the heel tendencies are turning around, but the title reign wasn't super great.
hmm
And Jay was starting to become a compelling champion. It's like when they took the title off of Priest and Gunther beat him. Priest was starting to become this super over babyface character. And they were like, yep, we're going to stop that right here. We're going to give this belt to Gunther. Now, they did not do a good job of booking Gunther. He was barely on TV. He
Yeah.
felt like a side character. And I hope this time, if they're willing to pull that trigger, because I do believe in just about every way Gunther is better than Jey Uso, except over with the fans. I do believe Gunther has the skill set to be a better champion. I hope we book him in a compelling way, like they did Jey Uso, because I was really enjoying what they were doing with Jey Uso. It's interesting they're so quick to jump back. And I feel like they were like, hey, here's your moment, Jay. You can have a few title defenses, but we're going to give it back to Gunther right away. So I'm not saying it's the wrong move. I'm very just kind of like, let's see what happens. I love Gunther. I think he's one of the best heels in the company right now, although he's kind of playing more of a tweener. And you kind of take us into that. We think he's potentially on his way to a face turn here.
Yeah, like I fully expected him to win on Monday night. I just expected Seth Rollins to be involved somehow and try to
Yeah.
cash in right away. Like I thought we were going to do one of those. I'm kind of glad they didn't,
Yeah, me too.
um, because I've been hitting Will with this recently, and Will and I actually talked about this many months ago with Gunther, that there has been times where Gunther isn't necessarily working as a heel, and it's not often, but there's flashes of it and the character that he's built that he's kind of above everything else. He's the most business superstar they have, character that they have right now. That he's all about the business. He wants to go out there, he wears basic trunks and boots, doesn't do anything flashy. His goal is to go out there and dominate and win and be a champion. It's very no nonsense. They've started giving him depth to what his character is, and it's thanks to Jey Uso. I think we're heading to a point where Gunther is going to be an ally to this resistance to Paul Heyman and his group of goons. I keep telling Will, I see a world where we get to war games and Gunther is on the babyface side going against the Heyman faction. And I think they're laying the groundwork with that long-term storytelling. It all started after he lost at WrestleMania. Like that was kind of his rock bottom. And then he gets into the stuff with Mitchell Cole, as The Rock would say. I miss that back in the Attitude Era. You call him Mitchell Cole. Um, he gets into it with Cole, and then Pat has to defend his friend, and they have that match, which was a good match. And that match was about Pat defending his friend and putting himself on the line for somebody else. And at the end of that match, Gunther acknowledges that. He has respect for Pat. And he
Yeah.
talked about it the next night or a couple nights later. He talked about it. I forget who he was bad mouthing, but he pointed out Pat and he was like, Pat has integrity or he has guts or something like he called it out. Now you move into the stuff with Jey Uso and he's gotten less adversarial with these run-ins with Jay. Before WrestleMania, he was sneak attacking him and just choking him out.
Hmm.
Now he's been talking to him. The last time we see him is before Money in the Bank. He goes into the locker room by Jay and he's like, I'm not going to fight you or nothing. I'm just letting you know what are you doing? You want to help everybody. You want to be everybody's friend. You want to help everybody, and look where it's getting you. And he's right. Jay was run thin. He put himself out there too much, and it cost him against Gunther. Then we have recently after Monday Night Raw, I forget who Gunther is talking to, and he's saying how whenever somebody wins a championship, everybody's in the back and they're excited and they're waiting for them and they're cheering. He's like, I won, everybody went home. Everybody's gone. And he's like, that's fine. I don't need people to be here and celebrate me. I have my family, I have friends. I don't need that. I go, that's interesting where he's the opposite of Jay. Jay is the complete opposite of that. Jay is all about a party and patting on the back and everybody being excited. I feel like we get to a point here where Gunther is going to get cashed in on by Seth Rollins somehow. He's going to do Gunther dirty. Gunther is going to then watch what this group keeps doing. And the more that Jay keeps resisting, which he's going to do, it's not like Jay is going to stop helping everybody else because he's not the champion anymore. There is
Yeah.
going to come an episode of Raw when Jay, beat up and all that kind of stuff, is still running out to help other people. And Seth is just destroying Jay and whoever else is in the ring with his group. And Gunther is going to come to that ring and he's going to help those guys. Not Seth. He's going to help Jay and the other guys because he's going to start to see that it's not all just about winning the championships and winning matches. At a certain point, you have to be something better than that. And I think that's the story that they're trying to tell. I hope it is.
Yeah.
It gets me excited for it just talking about it because they've been laying all the groundwork for it. The fact that he goes into the locker room and just talks to Jay and is doing the why do you want to be everybody's friend? Where is that getting you? Or there's going to come a time where Seth's group is going to be laying a beat down on Gunther for something and Jay's going to come out and help him.
Yeah.
And that's going to be what helps turn the tide for him. That, dude, we're enemies. What are you doing? You're coming to help me because I think Gunther has some respect for Jay.
He does.
Since
Yeah.
WrestleMania to now, you can see it. You can see it in the matches. You can see it how he talks. There's a change in Gunther, and I think we're going to get to that face character, and it's going to be awesome. I'm super excited for it. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it is. It's so great that we were here a week ago, pretty much same day, talking about man. Oh no,
Yep.
it's getting thin, and me and Brian are no marks. We kind of been feeling that way for a little bit.
Yep.
And pretty much the build to WrestleMania and post WrestleMania for a little bit there. WWE was kind of it was rough. It was not great.
Mhm.
I go back and I think about those Europe shows and the European tour,
Mhm.
and I was like, I don't look upon those shows fondly to the build to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And WrestleMania itself wasn't great. And then Backlash happened. I feel like we're kind of back on the right track. I feel like Triple H has got the train back on the track. So shout out to him. Shout out to all the people, Nick Khan, Triple H, listening to the fans, bringing back our truth. WWE is, we were there, back up. We are definitely going back up. And that's exciting because it's good to hear Brian talking about it. He's excited about this World Heavyweight Championship storyline. And we're excited about the John Cena feud. And there's so much to look forward to with this tournament. There's just, on both sides, the men's and the women's, I'm just super excited. I have one final note. Get Io Sky back in the ring. We need
Yeah.
more Io Sky matches. Where's she
Yeah.
been? Just quick note. That's all I have. I
No,
actually
you're
have a
right.
note that says I love AJ Styles. I don't know what I what I
Yeah.
meant when I wrote that.
No, you're not wrong about Io Sky that yeah, I feel like she's been absent
In the
lately.
background.
And again, it's a testament to how deep this women's division is and how good they are. that there's so many different things that you can do, but she is the champion. You
She
know,
is. Yeah,
it's she's basically right now she's Gunther while he was champion on Raw. And you're like, what's he
exactly.
doing? Like it's the same thing. Um, but we don't want to get negative about it because it's been positive.
It
And
has been.
I wanted to close it out with it feels good to have positive thoughts because stuff was trending in a bad direction. And the R Truth Ron Killings thing, that's changed things. And I told Will it feels a lot to me that this feels so similar to the Cody Crybabies when The Rock comes down to the ring and takes the main event away from Cody. And they have to zig and zag with the story and change it up on the fly. And then we get this final boss, and we get the people wanted Cody and Roman. They wanted that, and the people got it. And for that rare time in professional wrestling, we did the thing where you didn't know what was real and you didn't know what was a work. And that's when wrestling is the best. And we're at the point right now, it feels like that's the final boss right there. I can see that bald head.
But look, I
A
also was
bald
gonna make
fraud.
the point that like they even sold some merch off of
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
They had
Yep.
Cody crybabies like me buying buying
Yep.
merch.
Yep. 100%. And guess what? People are going to be buying the Ron
Like,
Killing stuff.
mm,
100%. And it was an organic moment that makes it feel like it did with that Cody finishing his story. Like this might be a point that puts the train back on the tracks, and it all started because the fans had a voice and the people who are there, the talent had feelings about it, and a change was made. And they
yeah.
brought Truth back. He's rebranded as Ron Killings. It's amazing. And this might be that moment that changes things and gets us going in the right direction because all of a sudden storylines are starting to come into place. Just adding Ron Killings to the mix gives, I said it in the beginning of this episode, adding him in makes the John Cena thing already feel better because we're emotionally invested into this story with Ron Killings. We all are rooting for him, and we're rooting for him to be a hero in this situation, just like we did for Cody. And if it ended with Truth being the one to retire John Cena and win the championship, and that's what turns him back, I would be totally fine with that. I would love it. If somehow Ron Killings is the one who has to be involved somehow with whatever that match is, or before, I have a feeling the face turn is going to come before that. Um, we're all going to be rooting for it harder now because of him. So this moment feels very organic, and it makes it makes all the stories feel more alive, and that's a really really good thing. And it wasn't a work. That's not how you do a work. I don't know if Dave Meltzer, who knows what he's saying. Does Dave Meltzer saying that it's a work?
Well, he was saying that like before when he wasn't re-signed, he was saying that basically they couldn't come to a contract agreement and Truth is so mad and he's never coming back. Just like kind of like stuff like that. Maybe I'll be able to find it and I can send it to you. Maybe
Okay.
not exactly that, but it was some clown Dave
Yeah.
Meltzer because he's always doing it's just who he
I
is.
I hope he doesn't go to that Spider-Man movie expecting to see his Liv Morgan cameo because I don't know if he's ever retracted that yet and been like, I was wrong. I got fed the wrong information. I didn't know. Like I don't know if he ever came out and said that, but whatever. But it's not a work. That much I can say. It's
I
not
bet
a
he'll
work.
go to the Spider-Man movie with his best friend Dwayne.
Oh God, he's gonna go with Dwayne and Brian Gewirtz, and
Oh
they're just gonna
yeah.
have a bro off. Yeah, I
Bro,
bet. Yeah, and The Rock's gonna say that he should have been in that movie and it would have made more money. Black Adam. Uh, yeah,
Black.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Rock. We don't get Man of Steel anymore. We don't get Henry Cavill because your Black Adam movie sucked. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, it wasn't a work. You don't do a work by releasing people. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't release Our Truth, Carlito, and Valhalla and then go, psych! We were just joking about one. The other people, they're still out of a job, but this guy was just a story. You wouldn't do that. It wasn't a work. Um, Somebody somewhere, I'm sure it boiled down to dollars and cents, and they were like, look, people will buy stuff because they really like him, but it doesn't matter. He's back, he's in the stories, and they need to strike while this iron is hot. Don't let this go to waste. You have to make sure you're using him in a way that gets us excited. Like keep going with it. Like don't back off. Like they need to get Ron Killings needs to be on a lot of WWE programming going forward because
Yeah.
it's good and I'm excited. And maybe I'm just a Ron Killings homer. I fell in love with the guy at the roast of WrestleMania. Um, so maybe it's me. He is my other Liv Morgan, or maybe she's my other Ron Killings. I don't know. I gotta work this one out.
You gotta work it out. Which one do you like more? Right now, right now it's still gotta be Liv,
That's,
man.
that's
Still got
Sophie's choice, man.
I know.
Like asking you to tell you like what one of my dogs is my favorite. Like you can't do that. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, speaking of things that are on the up and up on the roller coaster, us here at Wrestling with the Realm, we got lots of content coming out for you guys in the near future. You probably just watched our Money in the Bank review. We got this video for you guys. Of course, I feel like we're due for an overrated, underrated, Brian.
We
Maybe
are.
that's the next
Yeah,
episode.
we are.
We are due for that. Of course, we got more Who Fits the Faction. Brian wants to start doing few top tens, and I'm so for it. I'm
Yeah.
so for it. Maybe we both make a list of our top 10 favorite in-ring workers.
Oh.
We're taking
Oh.
the storyline out of
Oh
it and
boy.
talking
Oh,
in-ring work.
I,
That's
I'm gonna have some surprises, and there's gonna
oh
be
yeah.
some names on there that people can never say I'm not fair. That's all that I'll say.
Yeah, no, you guys will definitely. I have a number one that I think some people are so like, yeah, of course. And then he might not make other people's top tens, but I'm super excited for that episode. I know we were talking about it a little bit. It was like a just a brief note we were
Yep.
talking on, and that's one I'm for sure excited for. We're gonna have more lists coming out. We'll film those in the near future, and we got one up on the TikTok right now that's fairly new. You guys got a 900 views, couple hundred, almost a couple hundred likes. So shout out to you
Thanks,
guys. We
guys.
really appreciate you guys tuning into all this stuff. Go check out the Realm Paranormal podcast. Brian, what are you guys doing over there?
Man, we got I can't if I cannot express to you guys how excited I am for this coming Saturday. Uh, we're going to be investigating an undisclosed location. We're not allowed to talk about it. We had to sign some NDAs for it. Uh, it is a great location. It's very exciting. And we are probably going to delay some of the Ireland trip evidence review to kind of focus on getting some of this stuff out sooner this season instead of waiting until the fall because we have high hopes. Like just so everybody knows, my wife has been on a few investigations, and otherwise she'll usually sit it out, stay at home with the dogs, and hold down the fort. I told her where we're going, and she lit up and said, "Oh, I'm going." So I know that means nothing to any of you because you don't know her, but trust me that that means something. So super excited, super excited. So you guys will have to tune in to the Realm Paranormal podcast. It's down below. Go check us out, get all up to date, and then come back when we get that stuff out. It's gonna be good.
It is. It is. It's always good stuff over here and over there. So drop a follow there, drop a follow here. And until next time, guys, I'm Will. That's my guy, Brian. We love you guys. Peace.
See you next time. Peace out.
It's the one weird thing about me. I can't watch movies unless they're like kids movies. So like my favorite movies, the B movie and like Space Jam. I love the
B
B movie.
movie.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. Oh, yellow and black. I love that
oh
movie.
man. You can't handle the truth, or we can handle the truth. See, because Jack Nicholson is saying that, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you see it says our truth returns, but out, and it says Ron Killings has arrived.
Oh, I,
Yeah, see what I
I
did
love
there?
it. Yes, I love it. Guys,
Okay.
you can let me know if I got any basketball fans and on the pod. Y'all can let me know if you think Benedict Mathern's a C plus NBA player or not. He could probably be like a low B minus, maybe. Like, let's be
B
honest.
minus.
Like
Oh,
he's
so he's
probably
only one thumb up.
yeah, no, he's probably like the WrestleMania 41 of NBA
Oh,
basketball players. And like yeah, no, it'd be like asking my dad which one of his kids is his favorite. It's obviously Lil Yoko. That wouldn't be
oh.
hard.
Is it
Lil,
really Lil Yoko?
oh yeah, probably he love. I mean, everybody loves Lil Yoko. He's the real people's champ. I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, I got a pretty good fist bump from him today.
yeah, yeah, he's a good guy. Man, a
Yeah.
few words, but get him talking about Yokozuna. It's nonstop,
I
nonstop.
love that.